The awakening. The vast expanse of space had always beckoned humanity, a siren call of endless possibilities and untold wonders. Yet, as the first human diplomatic vessel approached the gleaming space station that served as the seat of the Galactic Council, Captain Sarah Chen couldn't shake the feeling that they were about to step into a trap of their own making. The station loomed before them, a masterpiece of alien engineering that dwarfed even humanity's most ambitious space constructs. Its crystalline spires and pulsing energy fields spoke of technology far beyond Earth's current capabilities. As their ship drew closer, Sarah's comm officer, Lieutenant Raj Patel, cleared his throat. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission from the station. They're requesting our credentials and cargo manifest. Again." Sarah sighed, running a hand through her short, graying hair. "Send it to them. Again, exactly as we did the last 3 times." This was humanity's first official contact with the Galactic Council, the culmination of years of preparation since Earth had first detected signs of intelligent alien life. The Council had initially reached out, extending an invitation for Earth to join their interstellar community. It had seemed like a dream come true, until they started dealing with the Council's bureaucracy. As their ship docked, Sarah led her team through a series of airlocks and decontamination chambers. Each step of the process was accompanied by a litany of rules, regulations, and procedures recited by monotone alien voices. By the time they reached the main reception area, Sarah felt like she'd aged a decade. The reception chamber was a vast, circular room with a domed ceiling that seemed to mirror the galaxy itself. Beings of all shapes, sizes, and colors milled about, their conversations a cacophony of clicks, whistles, and rumbles that the universal translators struggled to keep up with. A tall, willowy alien with iridescent skin approached them, datapad in hand. "Greetings, Terrans. I am Zilksna, your assigned liaison. Please present your documentation for processing." Sarah bit back a groan. "Zilksna, we've already transmitted our documentation multiple times. Is there a problem?" The alien blinked its 4 eyes in rapid succession. "No problem, Terran Chen. It is simply procedure. All interactions must be conducted by the book." There it was again. That phrase had peppered every communication they'd had with the Council. By the book. At first, Sarah had assumed it was just a translation quirk. Now she was beginning to suspect it was something far more significant. As Zilksna meticulously went through their documentation, Sarah's second-in-command, Commander John Rodriguez, leaned in close. "Captain, I've been observing the other species here. Notice anything odd?" Sarah scanned the room, her trained eye picking up on subtle details. Despite the diversity of alien life forms, there was a strange uniformity to their movements and interactions. Each conversation, each transaction, seemed to follow a precise, predetermined pattern. "It's like they're all following an invisible script," she murmured. "Exactly," John nodded. "I think this by-the-book thing isn't just a saying. It's their way of life." Before Sarah could respond, Zilksna finished its inspection. "Your documentation is in order, Terrans. You may now proceed to your assigned quarters. Tomorrow, you will be granted an audience with the Council to discuss Earth's potential membership." As they were led through winding corridors to their quarters, Sarah's mind raced. Earth had been so eager to join the galactic community, to learn from more advanced civilizations. But what if those civilizations weren't as advanced as they appeared? What if their rigid adherence to rules and procedures had stifled the very innovation that had allowed them to reach the stars in the first place? Their quarters, while luxurious, felt more like a gilded cage. As soon as the door closed behind them, Sarah gathered her team. "All right, people. I think we've stumbled into something bigger than we anticipated. This Council, for all its advanced technology, seems to be trapped in a cycle of bureaucracy and blind obedience to rules. We need to tread carefully." Raj, who had been tinkering with his universal translator, looked up. "Captain, I've been analyzing the language patterns in our interactions. This book they keep referring to. I don't think it's metaphorical. There are references in their transmissions to specific chapters and verses, like it's some kind of galactic Bible. The implications were staggering. An entire interstellar civilization, possibly multiple civilizations, all adhering to a single set of predetermined rules. It went against everything humanity had learned about adaptability and innovation being key to survival and progress. So what do we do? John asked, voicing the question on everyone's mind. Do we play along, try to change their minds, or do we pack up and head home? Sarah stood silent for a moment, weighing their options. Earth needed allies, needed the advanced technology the Council could provide. But at what cost? Could humanity thrive in a system that seemed designed to crush individuality and creative thinking? Finally, she spoke. We proceed with the meeting tomorrow. We'll present Earth's case for membership, but we'll also observe, learn as much as we can about how this council truly operates. And then, she paused, a glint of determination in her eyes. And then we decide if we're going to play by their book, or if it's time to write our own. As the team dispersed to prepare for the next day's meeting, Sarah stood at the viewport, gazing out at the alien stars. Humanity had dreamed of this moment for centuries. First contact, joining a galactic community. But now that the moment was here, she couldn't shake the feeling that they were standing on the precipice of something far more challenging than they had ever imagined. The stars twinkled back at her, indifferent to the struggles of the beings that sought to traverse them. Tomorrow, humanity would take its first official step onto the galactic stage. And Sarah Chen, representative of Earth, knew that the decisions they made here could shape the destiny of her species for millennia to come. Little did she know, those decisions would not only change humanity's fate, but spark a revolution that would reshape the very fabric of galactic society. The human touch. 5 years had passed since Earth's integration into the Galactic Council, and the initial excitement of joining an interstellar community had long since faded into a simmering frustration. Humanity, with its innate curiosity and adaptability, found itself increasingly at odds with the Council's rigid by-the-book philosophy. Dr. Amelia Frost, xenobiologist and unofficial diplomat, stood before the Council chamber, her patience wearing thin. She had been summoned to explain, yet again, why the human colony on Novus Prime had implemented unauthorized agricultural techniques. Esteemed council members, Amelia began, her voice steady despite her irritation. The modified crops we've developed are saving lives. The native flora on Novus Prime was incompatible with human digestive systems, leading to widespread malnutrition among our colonists. Our solution harms no one and solves a critical problem. The council members, a diverse array of alien species, chittered and mumbled among themselves. Finally, the Arbiter, a towering insectoid being, raised a segmented limb for silence. Dr. Frost, the Arbiter's translated voice rang out, while we appreciate the creativity of your species, we must insist that all terraforming and agricultural practices adhere strictly to Chapter 7, verses 23 to 89 of the book. Your modifications are not sanctioned and must cease immediately. Amelia clenched her fists, fighting back a retort. This was the crux of the issue that humanity had been grappling with since joining the Council. The book, a vast compendium of rules and procedures, governed every aspect of galactic life. It had brought stability and peace to the galaxy for millennia, but at the cost of stagnation. As she left the chamber, Amelia's comm unit buzzed. It was a message from Jack Harper, her old friend from the initial diplomatic mission, and now the head of human intelligence operations in Council space. Meet me at the usual place. The message read, "We need to talk." The usual place was a small, out-of-the-way bar on one of the station's lower levels. It catered to maintenance workers and other support staff, beings whose constant work kept the massive station running smoothly. The Council rarely paid attention to such places, making it perfect for discreet meetings. Jack was already there when Amelia arrived, nursing a drink that glowed an unnatural shade of blue. "How'd it go?" he asked as she slid into the booth across from him. Amelia sighed, ordering a drink of her own. Same as always. They're more concerned with following the rules than actually solving problems. Our people on Novus Prime will starve if we don't do something. Jack nodded, his expression grim. It's not just Novus Prime. I've been compiling reports from all our colonies and outposts. Everywhere we go, we're running into the same wall of bureaucracy and outdated regulations. He pulled out a data pad, sliding it across the table to Amelia. But here's the interesting part. We're not the only ones chafing under the Council's rules. Look at this. Amelia scrolled through the pad, her eyes widening. The data showed a clear pattern. Wherever humans had established a presence, local alien populations had begun adopting human problem-solving techniques. Unofficial trade networks had sprung up, exchanging human innovations for local knowledge and resources. This is incredible, Amelia breathed. But how has the Council not noticed? Jack grinned, a mischievous glint in his eye. That's the beauty of it. We're not breaking any rules, not technically. We're just interpreting them creatively, and the locals are learning to do the same. As they discussed the implications of this underground network, a commotion at the bar caught their attention. A group of maintenance workers, a mix of different alien species, were arguing loudly with the bartender. "What do you mean you can't serve us?" One of them, a squat, reptilian being, growled. "We've been coming here for years." The bartender, a nervous-looking avian creature, fluttered its wings anxiously. "I'm sorry, but the new regulations clearly state that establishments in this sector can only serve Grade 3 nutritional supplements to support staff. It's all here in the book." Amelia and Jack exchanged a glance. This was the Council's bureaucracy at work, its tentacles reaching even into this small, forgotten corner of the station. Without a word, Amelia stood and approached the group. "Excuse me," she said, drawing their attention. "I couldn't help but overhear. Perhaps I can offer a solution." Over the next hour, Amelia worked with the bartender and the maintenance crew, poring over the regulations. By the end, they had found a loophole. While the bar couldn't serve traditional drinks, there was nothing prohibiting them from offering customized nutritional supplements that just happened to taste remarkably similar to the workers' favorite beverages. As the now satisfied crew returned to their drinks, the bartender approached Amelia and Jack's table. "Thank you," he said, his feathers ruffling, and what they had learned was an expression of gratitude. "I've never seen anyone read the book that way before. You humans, you think differently." After the bartender left, Jack leaned in close. "You see, this is what we bring to the galaxy. Not just our technology or our resources, but our way of thinking. Our ability to adapt, to find solutions where others see only obstacles." Amelia nodded, her mind racing with possibilities. "We need to spread this further, not just in hidden bars and unofficial networks, but everywhere. Show the galaxy that there's another way to live, one that values progress and innovation alongside stability." "It won't be easy," Jack warned. "The Council has enforced its rules for thousands of years. They won't change overnight." "No," Amelia agreed, a determined glint in her eye. "But change is coming, whether they're ready for it or not." As they left the bar, neither of them noticed the small, spider-like drone that detached itself from the ceiling, scuttling after them. In a secure chamber deep within the Council's headquarters, a shadowy figure watched the footage from the drone, its multiple eyes narrowing in concern. "So," the figure murmured, its translator rendering its clicks and chirps into cold, synthetic speech. "The humans are becoming a problem after all. Perhaps it's time we reminded them of the consequences of straying from the book." Unaware of the growing storm, Amelia and Jack went their separate ways, each determined to push the boundaries of what was possible within the confines of Council space. They had planted the seeds of change, but the galaxy was about to learn that growth often comes with growing pains. As news of human ingenuity spread, more and more species began to question the rigid structures they had lived under for so long. The human touch was leaving its mark on the galaxy, igniting a spark of creativity and defiance that had lain dormant for millennia. But the Council was far from powerless, and it had no intention of letting its carefully constructed order crumble without a fight. The stage was set for a conflict that would determine the future of not just humanity, but of all sentient life in the galaxy. And at the center of it all, Amelia Frost and Jack Harper, two humans who had come to the stars seeking knowledge and cooperation, now found themselves as the unwitting catalysts of a galactic revolution. The rebellion begins. The Galactic Council's attempts to restrict human influence came swiftly and without warning. Colonies were placed under stricter supervision, trade routes were heavily regulated, and human representatives found their voices increasingly silenced in council meetings. But if the Council thought these measures would quell the rising tide of change, they were sorely mistaken. Captain Sarah Chen, now Admiral of Earth's growing space fleet, stood on the bridge of the ESS Prometheus, Earth's most advanced starship. Her weathered face was illuminated by the glow of tactical displays, each one showing the movement of Council ships throughout human-controlled space. "They're not even trying to hide it anymore," Sarah muttered, her eyes narrowing as she watched a Council battlecruiser take up position near one of their outermost colonies. Commander Rodriguez, still by her side after all these years, nodded grimly. "It's a show of force. They're hoping to intimidate us back into line." Sarah's comm unit chimed, displaying an incoming transmission from a familiar face. "Patch it through to my ready room," she ordered, striding off the bridge. As the door slid shut behind her, the holographic form of Dr. Amelia Frost materialized above her desk. The xenobiologist looked haggard, with dark circles under her eyes speaking of sleepless nights. "Sarah, we're running out of time," Amelia said without preamble. "The Council's cracking down hard. They've started relocating humans who've been too vocal about challenging the book. Jack's gone dark. I think they might have him." Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. Jack Harper had been their ace in the hole, his intelligence network providing invaluable information about Council movements and weaknesses. If he'd been captured, what about the Coalition? Sarah asked, referring to the secret alliance of races that had formed around humanity's innovative spirit. Amelia's hologram flickered as she glanced over her shoulder, paranoia evident in her movements. "They're scared, Sarah. The Council's making examples of anyone who steps out of line." "But," she paused, a hint of excitement creeping into her voice. "We found something. Something big." Sarah leaned forward, intrigued. "Go on." "We've uncovered references to ancient technology, predating even the Council itself. Technology that the book explicitly forbids. We think it might be the key to breaking the Council's hold on the galaxy." The implications were staggering. The Council had always positioned itself as the source of all advanced technology in the galaxy. The idea that there might be something beyond their knowledge, something they feared enough to forbid, could change everything. "Where is this technology?" Sarah asked, her mind already racing with possibilities. Amelia's image glanced around again before leaning in close. "We're not sure, but we've narrowed it down to a system in the galactic core. It's heavily restricted, surrounded by automated defenses that destroy any ship that approaches. We'll lead a way past those defenses, and a ship capable of making the journey." Sarah's eyes flickered to the viewport, where the sleek form of the Prometheus hung against the backdrop of stars. It was the pinnacle of human engineering, incorporating reverse-engineered Council tech with humanity's unique innovations. If any ship could make that journey, it was this one. "I'll need to speak with Earth's government," Sarah said, her decision already made. "We'll be committing an act of war against the Council. They need to be prepared for the consequences." Amelia nodded solemnly. "I understand. But Sarah, I don't think we have a choice anymore. It's not just about humanity now. The entire galaxy is suffocating under the Council's rule. We have to do something." As the transmission ended, Sarah stood motionless, the weight of the galaxy seemingly resting on her shoulders. She thought back to that first meeting with the Council, how naive they'd been about the true nature of galactic politics, Now, barely a decade later, they were on the brink of sparking a revolution that could reshape the very fabric of interstellar society. A soft chime from her comm unit broke her reverie. It was a message from an unknown source, heavily encrypted. With growing trepidation, Sarah opened it. The message was short, but its impact was seismic. The book is a lie. The Council is not what it seems. Trust no one. Seek the truth in the Forbidden Zone. Jack Harper. He was alive, and he'd managed to get a message out. But what did it mean? What truth lay hidden in the Forbidden Zone? Sarah's decision crystallized. They would make the journey to the galactic core, Council be damned. But first, they needed to gather their allies and prepare for the fight of their lives. Over the next few weeks, the Coalition worked in secret, coordinating their efforts across dozens of star systems. Ships were prepared, supplies were stockpiled, and plans were made for a galaxy-wide uprising. On the eve of their departure, Sarah stood before a gathering of Coalition leaders, humans and aliens alike, in a secure bunker deep beneath the surface of a remote moon. "What we're about to do will change the course of galactic history," she began, her voice carrying across the tense silence. For millennia, the Council has ruled through fear and rigid adherence to their precious book. They've stifled innovation, crushed creativity, and held countless species back from reaching their true potential. She paused, looking each being in the eye. But no more. Tomorrow, we strike out for the galactic core, seeking the truth that the Council has worked so hard to hide. And while we're gone, I'm asking each of you to light the spark of rebellion in your own systems. Challenge the book. Question authority. Show your people that there's another way to live. A murmur of agreement rippled through the crowd. Sarah could see the mix of fear and determination on their faces. So many different species, united in their desire for change. "It won't be easy," she continued. "The Council will fight back with everything they have. Many of us may not survive to see the new galaxy we're fighting to create. But I ask you this, is a life lived under the oppressive thumb of the Council truly living at all?" The response was immediate and overwhelming. Cheers and roars of approval filled the chamber, the Coalition's resolve hardening into unbreakable determination. As the meeting dispersed, each leader returning to their own ships and worlds to prepare for the coming storm, Sarah found herself approached by a small reptilian being. She recognized him as Zixkar, a member of a species known for their unwavering loyalty to the Council. "Admiral Chen," Zixkar said, his voice a low hiss, "I must confess, I had my doubts about your species when you first joined the galactic community. But now," he paused, his multifaceted eyes gleaming with an emotion Sarah couldn't quite place. "Now I see that you may be the salvation we have all been waiting for, whether we knew it or not." Sarah nodded, touched by the alien's words. "We'll do our best to live up to that hope, Zixkar. For all our sakes." As she boarded the Prometheus, preparing to lead their small fleet into the unknown dangers of the galactic core, Sarah felt a mix of terror and exhilaration. They were about to challenge the established order of an entire galaxy, armed with little more than hope, determination, and the uniquely human ability to think outside the box. The Prometheus's engines hummed to life, its advanced stealth systems rendering it nearly invisible to Council sensors. As they broke orbit and set course for the heart of the galaxy, Sarah couldn't help but feel that they were on the precipice of something monumental. Little did she know the true nature of the Council and the secrets hidden within the Forbidden Zone would shake the very foundations of everything she thought she knew about the universe and humanity's place within it. The rebellion had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The galactic upheaval. The galaxy erupted into chaos as the human-led coalition launched simultaneous strikes across countless star systems. The carefully maintained order of the Galactic Council began to crumble, revealing the fragility of a system built on blind obedience and stagnation. Aboard the ESS Prometheus, Admiral Sarah Chen watched the galactic map with a mixture of awe and trepidation. Countless pinpricks of light represented battles raging across the cosmos, each one a challenge to the Council's authority. Status report. Sarah barked, her eyes never leaving the map. Commander Rodriguez, his face haggard from days without sleep, consulted his datapad. The Coalition forces have taken control of key Council installations in sectors 7 through 13. We're facing heavy resistance in the central systems, but our allies are holding their own. Sarah nodded, allowing herself a small smile. The plan was working. While the bulk of the rebellion kept the Council's forces occupied, the Prometheus and its small escort fleet were pushing deeper into the restricted zone at the galactic core. "Any word from Dr. Frost?" Sarah asked, finally turning away from the map. Rodriguez shook his head. Nothing since she went planetside on Nexus Prime. "But Admiral, there's something else you need to see." He pulled up a series of images on the main view screen. They showed Council ships, but not engaged in battle. Instead, the massive vessels were retreating, fleeing towards the galactic core. "They're abandoning the outer systems," Sarah murmured, her brow furrowing. "But why? They still have the numbers to crush the rebellion if they concentrated their forces." Before Rodriguez could respond, the ship's AI, Araya, chimed in. "Admiral, I'm detecting a massive energy surge ahead. It appears to be coming from the restricted zone." Sarah's blood ran cold. They were close to their goal, the mysterious forbidden zone that Jack's message had pointed them towards. But if the Council was retreating here as well, "All hands, battle stations," Sarah commanded. "Weapons hot, shields at maximum. Whatever's waiting for us in there, we need to be ready." The Prometheus surged forward, its advanced stealth systems straining against the increasing gravitational forces as they approached the galactic core. Swirling clouds of stellar dust and radiation buffeted the ship, but its reinforced hull held strong. Suddenly, the view screen lit up with a blinding flash. As the light faded, Sarah's jaw dropped in awe. Before them hung a massive structure, easily the size of a small moon. It was an intricate lattice of gleaming metal and pulsing energy fields, clearly of technological origin, but far beyond anything the Council had ever revealed. "My God," Rodriguez whispered. "What is that thing?" Before Sarah could respond, a familiar voice crackled over the comm system. "Sarah, thank the stars you made it." "Amelia?" Sarah exclaimed. "Where are you? What's going on?" The view screen shifted, showing Dr. Amelia Frost. She was in what appeared to be an ancient control room, surrounded by technology that made even the Prometheus look primitive by comparison. "There's no time to explain everything," Amelia said, her words tumbling out in a rush. "But you need to know. The Council, the book, it's all been a lie. This station, it's the source of their power. The reason they've been able to maintain control for so long." Sarah's mind reeled. "I don't understand. What is this place?" Amelia took a deep breath. "It's a reality engine, Sarah. The ancients who built it could reshape the very fabric of space-time. The Council, they've been using it to enforce their will on the galaxy. The book isn't just a set of rules. It's a program running on this station, literally rewriting reality to ensure compliance." The implications were staggering. Every rule in the book, every regulation that had stifled innovation and creativity across the galaxy. It wasn't just law. It was woven into the very fabric of existence. "But how?" Sarah demanded. "How could they possibly control something like this?" "They can't. Not fully," Amelia explained. "The ancients built in safeguards. The Council can influence reality, but not completely rewrite it. That's why they needed the book, the bureaucracy, to work within the limits of what they could control." A new voice joined the conversation. Jack Harper, looking worse for wear but very much alive. "That's where we come in, Sarah. Humans, our ability to think creatively, to find loopholes and new solutions. We're a blind spot in their system. We can operate outside the constraints they've placed on the rest of the galaxy." As if to punctuate Jack's words, the ship rocked violently. On the view screen, Sarah could see Council ships emerging from hyperspace, weapons charged. "We're out of time," Amelia said urgently. "Sarah, we need you to dock with the station. We think a human mind might be able to interface with the engine in a way the Council never could. We can rewrite their rules, undo the damage they've done to the galaxy." Sarah hesitated for a split second. The fate of the galaxy hung in the balance, and they were asking her to interface with technology so advanced it might as well be magic. But as another blast rocked the ship, she made her decision. "Take us in," she ordered. "We're finishing this." The next hours were a blur of frantic action. As the Prometheus docked with the ancient station, Sarah led a team inside, fighting through Council forces that seemed desperate to stop them at any cost. They'd reached the central chamber, a vast spherical room dominated by a pulsing core of energy. Amelia and Jack were there, along with a team of coalition scientists, working feverishly at consoles covered in symbols no human had ever seen before. "We've managed to decipher some of the base code," Amelia explained as Sarah approached. "But we need someone to interface directly with the engine. Someone whose mind isn't bound by the constraints the Council has placed on the galaxy." Sarah nodded, her face set with determination. "Tell me what to do." As Sarah stepped into the interface chamber, she felt a moment of doubt. Was she really the right person for this? Could any human bear the responsibility of rewriting the laws of reality? But as the energy field enveloped her, Sarah felt something she hadn't expected. A sense of rightness, of coming home. The universe opened up before her mind, vast and beautiful, and far more complex than she had ever imagined. She saw the chains the Council had placed on reality, the artificial constraints that had held back the potential of countless species, and with a thought, she began to unravel them. Outside, the battle raged on. Council ships clashed with the rebel fleet, desperation lending them strength. But as Sarah worked within the heart of the reality engine, something began to change. Across the galaxy, beings of all species felt a shift. The oppressive weight of the book, a force they had never fully recognized, but had always felt, began to lift. Creativity flourished, new ideas blossoming in minds that had been constrained for millennia. On the Prometheus, Rodriguez watched in awe as the Council ships began to falter. It was as if they were fighting against the very laws of physics, their weapons misfiring, their shields flickering. "She's doing it," he whispered. "She's rewriting the rules." In the heart of the station, Sarah Chen, a human from a young species that had only just taken its first steps into the stars, reshaped the destiny of an entire galaxy. She erased the chains of the book, replacing rigid laws with guidelines that encouraged growth and innovation, while still maintaining the stability the Council had sought for so long. As the last of the Council's influence faded away, Sarah felt the power of the engine begin to ebb. She had done what needed to be done. Now it was up to the beings of the galaxy to shape their own destiny. The battle ended not with a final, climactic explosion, but with a wave of confusion, and then peace. Council ships stood down, their crews suddenly free of the compulsions that had driven them for so long. As Sarah emerged from the interface chamber, exhausted but triumphant, she was met with cheers from her crew and their coalition allies. They had done the impossible. They had freed the galaxy. But as the initial euphoria faded, Sarah knew that their work was far from over. They had won the war, but now came the even greater challenge: building a new galactic order, one that would learn from the mistakes of the past while embracing the limitless potential of the future. The galaxy had been transformed, and humanity had played a pivotal role. But the true test of their species was yet to come. Could they help guide the galaxy towards a brighter future, or would they fall victim to the same temptations that had corrupted the Council? Only time would tell. But for now, as the Prometheus began its journey home, Sarah allowed herself a moment of hope. The stars seemed brighter somehow, full of possibility and promise. The age of the book was over, the age of exploration, innovation, and true cooperation was just beginning. A new dawn. 5 years had passed since the fall of the Galactic Council and the rewriting of reality itself. The galaxy was a changed place, teeming with newfound energy and possibility. Yet, as always, with great change came great challenges. Admiral Sarah Chen, now Ambassador Chen, stood before the newly formed Galactic Assembly, a diverse gathering of representatives from countless species across the cosmos. The Great Hall, situated on a neutral space station at the galaxy's heart, hummed with a cacophony of languages and ideas. "Order, please," Sarah called, her voice carrying across the chamber. The assembly quieted, all eyes turning to the human who had played such a pivotal role in reshaping their collective destiny. "Fellow sentients," Sarah began, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. "We stand at a crossroads. For millennia, our galaxy was bound by the rigid laws of the book, our potential stifled by the Council's fear of change. We broke those chains, but now we face a new challenge: how to move forward without falling into the same traps that ensnared our predecessors." A murmur ran through the crowd. It was a question that had dominated discussions across the galaxy since the Revolution. Without the book to guide them, without the Council to enforce order, how could they prevent chaos from engulfing them all? "I propose a new way forward," Sarah continued. "Not a new book, not a new set of inflexible laws, but a framework for cooperation and growth. A galactic charter that enshrines the rights of all sentient beings to pursue knowledge, to innovate, and to determine their own destinies, while also establishing guidelines to prevent the strong from exploiting the weak." As Sarah outlined the proposed charter, she could see the mix of hope and skepticism on the faces of the assembled representatives. It was an ambitious plan, one that would require unprecedented cooperation between species that had, until recently, been bound together only by the Council's iron fist. From her seat in the assembly, Dr. Amelia Frost watched with pride. The xenobiologist had spent the past 5 years studying the effects of the reality engine's deactivation on various species. The result had been nothing short of miraculous. Beings that had been stagnant for millennia were suddenly making leaps in technology, art, and social progress. But there were darker aspects too. Some worlds, so long dependent on the Council's guidance, had fallen into chaos. Others had seen the rise of dictators and demagogues, filling the power vacuum left by the Council's collapse. It was a stark reminder that freedom, while precious, came with its own set of challenges. As the debate over the charter raged on, a familiar face approached Amelia. Jack Harper, now head of the new Galactic Intelligence Network, slid into the seat beside her. "Quite a show, isn't it?" he murmured, nodding towards the podium where Sarah was fielding questions from various representatives. Amelia nodded, her eyes never leaving the proceedings. "It's amazing how far we've come. But Jack, do you ever wonder if we did the right thing? The galaxy's in turmoil. Some worlds are suffering. Was it worth it?" Jack was quiet for a moment, his face thoughtful. "I ask myself that every day," he finally said. "But then I remember what it was like under the Council. The stagnation, the oppression. At least now, people have a chance to shape their own destinies." Their conversation was interrupted by a commotion near the podium. A representative of the Zorax, a species known for their strict hierarchical society, was vehemently objecting to a clause in the charter. "You speak of freedom and self-determination," the Zorax representative hissed, its tentacles writhing in agitation. "But what of order? What of stability? Your human chaos will doom us all." Sarah remained calm in the face of the alien's anger. "Change can be frightening," she acknowledged. "But consider this. Under the Council's rule, your species was locked into rigid castes, unable to evolve or adapt. In just 5 years of freedom, haven't you seen advancements that would have been impossible before?" The Zorax representative fell silent, unable to deny the truth of Sarah's words. Indeed, their homeworld had seen more scientific and social progress in the past 5 years than in the previous 1,000. As the debate continued, a small delegation approached the podium. Amelia recognized them immediately. They were Novans, descendants of the human colonists who had settled on Novus Prime. But they had changed, adapted to their new world in ways that went beyond anything the original colonists could have imagined. The lead Novan, her skin shimmering with bioluminescent patterns, addressed the assembly. "We stand as living proof of what can be achieved when beings are free to adapt and evolve," she said, her voice melodic and strange. "Our ancestors were humans, but we have become something new. Not better, not worse, but different. This is the gift that freedom gives us, the ability to become what we need to be." Her words seemed to strike a chord with the assembly. Even the most skeptical representatives began to nod in agreement. The tide was turning. As the final votes were tallied, Sarah felt a wave of relief wash over her. The Galactic Charter had been ratified, not unanimously, but with a strong majority. It wasn't perfect. No system involving so many diverse species could be. But it was a start, a foundation upon which they could build a better future. Later, as the assembly dispersed, Sarah found herself on an observation deck, gazing out at the stars. Amelia and Jack joined her, the three of them standing in companionable silence. "So," Jack finally said, a hint of his old mischief in his voice, "what's next? We've toppled an ancient regime, rewritten the laws of reality, and established a new galactic order. Seems like we might be out of a job." Sarah chuckled, shaking her head. "Somehow, I doubt that. We've only just begun, Jack. The galaxy's full of mysteries waiting to be explored, civilizations to be contacted. And now we can do it not as conquerors or enforcers, but as equals, as friends." Amelia nodded, her eyes shining with excitement. "I've been analyzing the data from the reality engine. There are hints of other galaxies out there, maybe even other dimensions. The possibilities are endless." As they talked, planning and dreaming of the adventures to come, Sarah felt a profound sense of gratitude. Humanity had come to the stars seeking knowledge and community. They had found depression and stagnation instead. But through their uniquely human blend of adaptability, creativity, and determination, they had changed not just their own fate, but that of an entire galaxy. The future was uncertain, filled with both promise and peril. But as Sarah looked out at the glittering expanse of the cosmos, she knew one thing for certain. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them not bound by an ancient book of rules, but armed with the greatest tools any species could possess: curiosity, compassion, and the courage to forge their own path. The age of the book was over. The true age of exploration had begun. And humanity, once newcomers to the galactic stage, now stood ready to help guide their fellow sentients into a future limited only by the bounds of their collective imagination. As the station rotated, bringing a new vista of stars into view, Sarah Chen, Amelia Frost, and Jack Harper, the unlikely heroes who had reshaped the destiny of countless worlds, raised their glasses in a quiet toast. To the future, to freedom, to the endless possibilities that awaited them all among the stars. The galaxy, vast and mysterious, sparkled before them, a canvas of infinite potential, waiting to be explored.